Welcome to the One Step Empire podcast from SHEcorporated. We're here to help you take the leap and create the life you dream of by building your own business empire one simple step at a time. So we're going to keep it simple, cut the fluff, and focus on the elements that are the most critical to your success and will have the biggest impact on your business in the amount of steps that you actually have time for each week, one. So coming up today is a short 5-minute podcast to give you all the information you need to make your next step in your journey. And step by step, week by week, you will be moving in the direction of your dreams and building your business empire. Hi, and welcome back to SHEcorporated One Step Empire podcast. If you've been following along each week and doing the homework, you will now have a solid business idea, a plan to test it by offering a minimum viable product to your market. You'll have a solid understanding of your target audience and 3 of your best customers and their habits, their lifestyle, and their preferences, all drawn out on paper. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you need to go back to episode 1 and start from the beginning, because each episode builds on the last and your business is building exactly the same way. So go on, we'll wait. All right. So we talked through how to determine your target audience last week, and we created your buyer personas. Now this week, things are going to get strategic. Are you ready to find out what your secret sauce is? That thing that's going to skyrocket your sales, that special thing that gives you an unfair advantage over your competition? If that's what you want to do, then you need to do a SWOT. What the hell is a SWOT, you ask? Well, good question. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it's one of the quickest ways to find opportunities that you can use to grow your business exponentially. A SWOT analysis is a framework that's used to evaluate where your company stands among the competition and in the marketplace, and is going to help you develop your strategies moving forward. So you're going to look at the internal strengths and weaknesses of your company so you can identify the areas that need work, and then as well as those that are going to give you a unique value proposition for your customers. Externally, you're going to look at your competitors. You're going to look at the market conditions. You're going to examine maybe needs that are not currently filled for your customers, trends you could take advantage of, and so much more. You know, we get so caught up in the everyday running of our business that it's really critical to take a step back and have a good look at where we are, what we might be missing, and where we have opportunities to improve. So how do you do your own SWOT analysis? Well, we put together a free worksheet for you. We've linked it on our site. So if you go to SHEcorporated.com and look up on the header bar, you're going to see the free download link there. And that free download has a grid that breaks down what types of things should be included in each section of your SWOT. But let's talk through it here as well. So the strengths is the first one, and that's an internal factor. So that's what your company does well. What you do differently than your competitors. It can also be what assets you have, like special processes or owned property or capital, or maybe some proprietary software that you own. What internal resources you have, like maybe you have really skilled workers, you have efficient processes, you've got really low overheads. Those can all be strengths. Those are internal strengths. Weaknesses is also an internal factor, and that's things that, like, what needs improvement. What do your competitors do better or differently than you do? What resources do you lack? What internal weaknesses do you have? Like perhaps you have low quality training, or you have poor morale or gaps in your processes. Those are all going to be weaknesses. Now, opportunities can either be external or internal. So this can be things like what changes in the market are happening right now that are positive for your company. Is there increasing need perhaps for your product? What's the competition doing that you can capitalize on? Or is there a lack of competition? That is going to be an opportunity. Are there markets that are underserved that you could go after? Is there technology that you can utilize to help you become more efficient, to reduce your costs, to improve your service, that sort of thing? Those are all opportunities. And then the last one is threats. So these also can be external or internal. So a threat could be something like, is the market trending away from your product or service? Is there new competition arriving in your market? Are there changing regulations that are going to affect your company or your customers in a negative way? Is there a negative media coverage having something to do with your business or the product that you that you produce or the service you provide. So those are all threats. And those are all, like I said, they can be internal or they can be external. So get it on paper. You're going to want to sit and go through and write down your answers for each of the 4 parts. The examples I've given you may not apply exactly to your business, but there may be others that do apply that I didn't touch on. So go through each section and fill it out as it best applies to your specific situation. Once you've done that, you're going to want to act on it. So how do you act on your SWOT analysis? Well, after you've completed it, go through all of your answers and look at them individually. Now, the first one is the easiest to figure out, the strengths, because this is essentially, you're already doing them. So it's really do more of what you're already good at. So if your strength is excellent customer service, then you want to keep your staff engaged and motivated. You want to keep the systems in place or the training or the processes that have gotten you where you are, and then improve on them wherever possible. Minimizing your weaknesses is the next one. And you want to act on the weaknesses that you identified in your SWOT analysis. So it's a little more challenging, but it's just as important. So you're going to want to have a good look at your weaknesses and see which ones you can correct and how you can compensate for others. So for example, let's say you have a small family-owned pizza restaurant. And let's say a weakness that you identified was that your competitors, mostly large chains, have a delivery service. Now, you may not ever be able to afford delivery drivers, but perhaps you can offer something extra with all the takeout orders, or you can make it really easy for your customers to pick up their orders with a curbside service. So that's one of the examples on how you can minimize some weaknesses. Now, opportunities, seizing your opportunities. The opportunities section of your SWOT analysis is the part that always gets me the most excited, because this is where you're going to find things like holes in the market and opportunities to grow market segments. It's a great way to really move the needle with some very small changes. So have a look at those opportunities on your list and figure out how you can best take advantage of them. For example, let's say you're producing organic baby food, and you've noticed a big increase in the demand for organic foods in new markets that you aren't already serving. Now, that's an opportunity to figure out how to get in front of that market, or to find a way to make your product appeal to that new demographic with maybe a special product line or marketing that is going to appeal specifically to them. So that's one of the examples for opportunities. And the last one is mitigating your threats. It's often one of the most difficult parts of the SWOT analysis, because these factors are mostly external. So you're going to have limited control over them, but responding to the threats should be your top priority, even if they seem out of your control. You're going to need to make changes that are in your control in order to address each threat. So for example, let's say you produce a clothing line, and a threat on your list is that your supply chain is, for the fabric that you use, is unreliable because of shipping issues from overseas. Well, you can't do anything about the shipping delays, but you could look at sourcing from a more local supplier, or adding a new collection to your clothing line with a different fabric that's sourced from somewhere else to diversify your supply chain so you're not completely dependent on that one supplier. So that's an example of how you can't really change the threat, but you can respond to it. So that's your one step for this week. So this is one exercise that will really set you up for success and give you some insight into opportunities that can give your business the edge it needs to be a success right out of the gate. So go get the free download. If you go to SHEcorporated.com, look for the link in the header at the top of the page there where it says SWOT Analysis Workbook. Download it, do your analysis, and then see what opportunities are waiting for you. I think you're going to find that it's really exciting. Now, next week is a fun one. We're going to work on your success mindset. We're going to do some I am affirmations, and we're going to get dreaming to clarify your vision for your new life and business. So hit us up at SHEcorporated on social, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks for joining us for the One Step Empire podcast from SHEcorporated. We're here to help you take the leap and create the life you dream of by building your own business. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, there are some core steps every business needs to take to become a success. As a woman in business, we are often trying to start our business in the pockets of our days. So we're going to keep it simple, cut the fluff, and focus on the elements that are the most critical to your success and will have the biggest impact on your business, all while helping you do it in the amount of steps you have time for each week, one step. So follow along with us for a 5-minute podcast each week to learn about the next step in your journey, and then complete that action item before the next podcast the following week. And step by step, week by week, you'll be moving in the direction of your dreams. We can't wait to see what you build.